this joint. I'm gonna get this joint right. First star, I'm really that nigga. Truth be told, I'm a noble figure. Local niggas, they be so offended. One West world, this global business.
Hold on, let me ask y'all a question. All y'all niggas in the same school and all that?
Hell, fuck yeah.
So none of y'all niggas smoke weed?
Fuck no.
Don't fold if you say you win it. I was molded to it, now fit it. Can't control, this the highest limit. Killing shit, but this an honest living. Gotta get it, ain't no time for wishing. The time is now, better pay attention. In my city, you can feel the tension. A terror squad, no pun intended. This ain't for you, but I write, no pun intended. This ain't for you, but I write. My rival, this about to go viral. I say the word, then it's final. To get the moving like Pronto. I'm just living my title. Do this shit with my eyes closed. All I know is survival. All this fashion is tribal. Want the head of my rivals. It's about to go viral. Say the word, then it's final. Get the moving like Pronto. I'm just living my title. Do this shit with my eyes closed. Don't wanna hear all that street shit. Me and my niggas on defense. Wonder who I was in my past life. Don't even matter, that peep this. Remember the days when I was a trooper. Stay on the path and it won't confuse you. Far as all, I'm the one to do it. I roll on ace like a flight maneuver. Try to trick me, I ain't never moving. Camouflage, I can blend into it. They better ride, I don't do the Ubers. Let them talk, I don't hear the rumors. A little suffer ain't really nothing. The way I'm stomping, better play the trumpet. You see me coming, better get the running. If they see me coming, better get the running. You ain't never seen it, you ain't never witnessed, you ain't never noticed, you ain't never focused. I was really waiting, I was really training. Sick and tired of being patient. I ain't never doubted, this was in the making. Use what I got, not in the wasting. For rapping and singing, could never drink it. But I'm from the bottom, so I gotta make it. This ain't rapping, it's a damn warning. Late night to the early morning. Got a vision, I planned it out. They tried to stop me, but I kept going. I study plays, now I'm in the game, and it's all the same, but I had to change. You'll never crash if you in your lane. I could take the loss, cause it's all a game.
Yo, when Casamigos be in English? Drunk.
All I know is survival. All this fashion is tribal. Want the head of my rival. This about to go viral. I say the word, then it's final. To get the moving like Pronto. I'm just living my title. Do this shit with my eyes closed. All I know is survival. All this fashion is tribal. Want the head of my rival. This about to go viral. Say the word, then it's final. Get the moving like Pronto. I'm just living my title. Do this shit with my eyes closed.
Alright, let's do a mic check, sound check. It's a lock here. I'm getting used to this old system I used to use. Alright, I had to use this for one episode. You know what I'm saying? Going back to my roots. Alright, but let me know if y'all can hear me. I think the sound should be to but as we go through this live, if there's any sound, video, or connection issues, please just notify me, let me know, and I'll see if I can rectify it as soon as possible so we can get this show, you know, back up to the quality we used to. Alright, so real-time revelations, you know what I'm saying, Most High Christ towards Kyla. Alright, real-time revelations, you know what I'm saying, the show I do every Sunday from 2 p.m. to about 3:30, how, you know, depending on what topics we got, you know what I'm saying. So we're going into tonight's topic, right, or today's topic, this afternoon's topic, I should say. You know, this used to be evening show. I'm still not used to the time difference. Alright, but the topic of today's episode is, why are oppressors, why are so-called white people so insecure? We got a couple stories we're going to get into in tonight's show. Make sure you'll like the live, share it. Make sure you follow the page if you aren't followed already. We're going to get into tonight's topics. Alright, so let me start with, let me see. This first topic I'm going to share isn't necessarily to do with this topic, but it is just something I saw and I noticed that was, hold on. It's something I saw and noticed that was just wild to me. Like I saw it and I read the story, and again, it just goes to show how, like, when it comes to the devil, when it comes to your oppressor, like the way they get held accountable, or the way they get criminally charged, is just far different from black people. And we know this. We know this is a fact. We experience, we live this. We don't only know this, we absolutely live this. But every now and again, a story comes along and it just surprises you once again. Somehow it just finds a way to show that no matter how much this oppressor says that everyone's equal, and no matter how much he says that, you know, or they claim that they've changed and they're no longer racist, and whatever things they try and claim, the stories you see about how they get treated versus how we would know that we would get treated is just astounding. All right, so I'm gonna share this video for you, which is wild. Is absolutely wild. All right, so let me see if this shares right here. Okay, cool. So y'all can see the story. Let me make it a little bit. Okay, that just resizes the whole thing. Just bring it down a little bit. Okay, cool. So this story right here. See, I like this setup. I like this setup where I can just share stuff on the screen as opposed to like turning my phone all the time. But you know, I do like the kind of IRL, like, you know, in the car type thing. I like them both. They both have their ups and downs. All right, but let's read this story. All right, so man sentenced to life imprisonment with a minimum term of 27 years and 230 days. All right, so this man, which is a white man, is a British man. You'll notice whenever it's whenever it's one of their people, they just say man does this, or man aged this does this. But whenever it's a black man, it's always black man does this. Whenever it's any other race, an Hispanic man does this or does that. But whenever it's them people, whenever it's their people, it's always just it's always as nondescript as they could possibly make it. It's as nondescript to push this agenda as if it's only black people that are committing crimes. To push this idea that damn near you would think that, you know, oppressors don't even commit crimes with the way they report it. All right, but a man sentenced to life imprisonment with a minimum term of 27 years and 230 days following the unaliving of Anne Blackwood at Crofton Cemetery in Fareham. Okay, so apparently this man right here, this old oppressor, this old devil, Martin Suter, age 68, like as of today, right? A 68-year-old man has been sentenced to life imprisonment with a minimum term of 27 years and 230 days at Portsmouth Crown Court today, as of, you know, this was Friday, after admitting the unaliving of his ex-wife at Crofton Cemetery in Fareham on Monday, the 24th of July, 2023. So, this unaliving took place in July 2023. Meaning over 2 years ago, like what, 2 years and 4 months exactly tomorrow. All right, 2 years and 4 months. And he's only just now being charged. He's only just now actually been sentenced. Now, you know, if this was a black man, it would not take 2 years and 4 months to be sentenced for unaliving somebody. It would absolutely not take this long. But for this man who, you know, to them, he just looks, I guess, so innocent. And there's no way that he could have done a crime like this. And we need to investigate what happened and what caused him to jump off the deep end and all these things that just delay a criminal being put behind bars. It happens for them. It absolutely happens to them. So let's read more about this story, about how he unalived his ex-wife at a cemetery. I mean, I guess, just go ahead and bury her right there at the cemetery. I mean, good night. Let's carry on. Following a thorough investigation, I'm sure it was thorough. I'm sure it was very thorough, because we have to analyze what made this poor old man, just jump off the deep end and commit such a heinous crime. oppressors have been unaliving people since they were old enough. Been unaliving people since Esau was trying to unalive Jacob. All right, but let's carry on. A thorough investigation of Martin Suter of Portsmouth Road in Lee-on-the-Solent was charged with the unaliving of 71-year-old Anne Blackwood. I mean, good night. His ex-wife was 3 years older than him. Made sure she couldn't run away. Made sure she was old. She was good and old when he decided to. And we're gonna read what he did to her. At 3:47 p.m. on Monday, July 2023, we received a call from Suter stating he had just unalived somebody by stabbing them. So right after committing the crime, right after he sees his ex-wife in the cemetery, apparently he was lying in wait for her, right? So he must have known, she visits, and we're going to get onto the story, she visits her son's grave, or their son's grave, right? Every so often. And this old man, this old white man, laid in wait for his ex-wife, poked holes in this woman, poked plenty of holes in this woman, and then called the police saying he had just unalived somebody by stabbing them. He admitted to the crime. You know what I'm saying? You can clearly see when you arrive on the scene, there's a body with holes in it, right? With a lot of, red liquid just all on the ground and on probably the weapon which he might have left, right? But he immediately admits to the crime, right? He says he identified the victim as his ex-wife, meaning he told them who it was. He told them it was his ex-wife, Anne, and stated that his motive, right? So his motive was related to the non-suspicious accidental unaliving of a family member many years previously, right? So this was relating to apparently their son, right? Their son died, or the son was unalived. I'd say died, right? At the age of 15, right? We don't really know what caused him to unalive, but this man blames the woman. He blames the woman for the child's, death, right? And they I don't know if it goes into that in this story, but I read up about the story, right? So the child died in 2003, and then they divorced in 2004. So they split up because of it. He believes that she is the reason he was unalived. There's nothing that she hasn't been charged with anything, so I guess there's nothing to evidence that it was her fault or whatever. But he blames her and has held this grudge since 2003 to 2023. So for 20 years. For 20 years, this man has held this idea that his ex-wife unalived his child. Right? So he did the crime. He put holes in this woman, and she was unalived as a result of it. She died of blood loss, Then he calls saying that he did it. He identifies who it is that he did it to and stated his motive. Admitted to the crime, gave the victim, all the information, and stated his motive. Okay. Says both parties were at Crofton Cemetery at Lichgate Green. Officers rushed to the scene, and despite their efforts and those of paramedics from South Central Ambulance Service, she was unalived at the cemetery, and he was arrested and taken into custody. Right? So they got there. They see the woman with holes on the floor. She was, despite them trying to save her, she was unalived at the scene, and the man was arrested and taken into custody. Okay. So again, admitted to the crime, said who it was, they arrived, that's exactly who it is, stated his motive. He was arrested and taken into custody. Then it says, following a charge for murder, Suter denied the offense. Right? So after admitting that he did the crime, after calling the police saying that he did this, he put holes in this woman, and he did it because of this reason. Following the charge for murder, which is, that's what that crime is, it's murder. He denied the offense. He said, I didn't do it. He denied the offense, right? Then it says, but 3 days into his subsequent trial, meaning because this man, when he got to trial, said that didn't do it. Because he said he didn't do it, after the, despite all of the evidence, including and not limited to his own admission and motive, he now says he didn't do it, and then the trial, it gets extended. It gets extended for another year. So the subsequent trial is in the 28th of May, 2024. So a whole year goes by. And this man is what? Is he still in police custody, or is he been allowed to go back home until the new trial? It doesn't really say, but a whole year goes by and this man still hasn't been charged because he just says he didn't do it. Put a black man in this scenario. Black man unalived somebody, calls the police, said he unalived somebody, and his motive, the reason he did it. The police arrive at the scene, take him into custody. If he goes to trial and he just says at the trial, I didn't do it, it wasn't me, do you think there's going to be a subsequent trial? Would there ever be a subsequent trial for this after all the mountain of evidence? But apparently, 3 days into his subsequent trial, so after a couple more days of, after a year, he said he changed his plea to guilty. So he said, okay, fine, I actually did do it. I just, I did do it. I plead guilty. Okay, so he admitted that he was guilty in the instance. Got to trial, he said he didn't do it. A whole year passes, he says, okay, I plead guilty. Then he says his sentencing was adjourned after the outcome of another case being heard at Bolton Crown Court, where he was acquitted by a jury of some charges relating to sexual offences. So now there's another offence he's being charged by. He's being charged for sexual offences, right? And this was it. Does it even say in this article? I had to find. Okay, this is the article from the police, right? But if you read about the story, this person that he was being charged, or he was being heard, as they say, for sexual offences, was, they say it's a girl under the age of 14. So this man is being, taken to court for sexual offences against a girl who they just say is under 14, which I don't even know what that means. That could range anywhere from from a month old to 13 and 11 months. So I don't even know what that means, but this girl was under the age of 14. This is, beyond a child. This is a early teenager. Like that, they just about enter their teenage years. Just about a teen, you could say. And he was acquitted of that, but he admitted indecent assault. So whether they say it was a sexual offense, which indecent assault to me is still very much a sexual offense. But apparently he was acquitted, of a sexual offense, but admitted he committed indecent assault. Again, this is the disconnect that I'm seeing. A man can say he indecently assaulted a child of under 14, but apparently that's not a sexual offense. He gets acquitted by the jury. Again, this only happens with oppressors. And not only that, but he has, while he's going through this charge, he has a murder charge, which he admitted to initially, then said he didn't do it, then changed his plea to guilty. Let's carry on. Suitor then attempted to overturn his guilty plea for the murder of Anne Blackwood, but this application was denied. So, good night. So, after now, he was acquitted by the jury of any sexual offences, so I don't even think he was really charged for anything like that. We read later on, I think he was only charged like, how do I say, 4 months, right? It says it right here. So we'll get to that in a second. So for indecently assaulting this little girl under the age of 14, he gets 4 months. And because he was acquitted of a sexual offense, and I guess he wasn't charged seriously for that, he decides, hold on, I'm an oppressor. I can clearly get away with anything. Let me try change the fact that I plead guilty for the the murder that I admitted to. Let me just see if I can get away with it again, because he actually did get away with it the first time, which is interesting again. So he got away with it the first time, then he pled guilty because, again, I mean, the evidence is like, what are we even talking about right now? But he tries again to say he didn't do it. He tries to overturn his guilty plea because he got let off a sexual offense charge. Because oppressors can just go around committing crimes and they face no justice. There is no justice when it comes to oppressors. Like, they get away, literally, they get away with murder. Like literally. But let me not spend too much time on this story. Let me read on, right? So, the application was denied. He didn't, he wasn't able to change his guilty plea. No, you pleaded guilty. Okay, you're getting charged for it now. Too bad, so sad. I guess he could have, initially just kept his non-guilty plea, and he probably would have gotten away with it. He probably would have been acquitted of that too. But he admitted to it. All right, so at a Newton hearing on Friday, HHJ Bowles rejected that suitor had taken a knife to the cemetery to cut flowers and identified the minimum starting point for his sentencing would be 25 years in prison. So apparently he said, oh no, even though I admitted to the murder and said my reason for doing it, the reason I had a knife at the cemetery was actually to cut flowers. It was actually to cut flowers at my son's grave. That's what it was for. I just happened to trip, fall, and put holes in this woman about 19 times. It turns out, like, if you actually read the story, not only did he start, I had to find the story. Hold on, let me find it, because I'm not this what's his name again? Martin Suter. Is it S-U-T-E-R? Because I really want to get the story that specifically says, hold on, let me search in Google. Martin Suter. Right, let me find the, what was it, Guardian or BBC? Either of those will work. We'll go BBC here. So what he did, hold on, let me find it. Maybe later. Cool, so he repeatedly stopped by the son's grave. Okay, and it was on his it was on the so say birthday of the child. His what would have been his 36th birthday. So this woman goes to visit her child's grave on what would be his birthday, and that man is just waiting for her, lying in wait. Look, he said Suter waited for about 5 hours at the cemetery on the 24th of July before attacking Miss Blackwood when she arrived on a bicycle. I mean, good night. She arrived on a bike to pay respects to her dead, unalived son. And this man is just waiting. It says the defendant put a hole in her back with a kitchen knife, and the blade having broken off with the first blow. Good night. So apparently, he put a hole in her back so hard that the blade broke off. The blade broke off from the kitchen knife. So because that happened, he picked up the pair of scissors that she brought to cut flowers, which is what he said, he brought the knife for. So he took the pair of scissors that she had and repeatedly put holes in her neck. I'm sure there was another story where he said it was about 19 times, and then called the police to confess, and then later pled not guilty. I mean, good night. So he was charged. He was sentenced to life imprisonment with a minimum term of 27 years and 109 days. So that's for the murder. 27 years, which even that, I mean, good night I guess it's just about a life sentence. Like a life sentence is like a minimum of 25 years. He got 27 for this terrific unaliving. Like, it wasn't an accident. It wasn't reckless driving. It was premeditated murder. And he got an additional 4 months for the indecent assault of this under 14-year-old girl. Meaning he got a total of 27 years and 230 days. And that's it. And this is, I mean, like, good night. Yeah, and Tashawn Ryan, and he probably won't even do all that. Exactly, like, he probably won't even do all that time. He'll do a couple years. They'll feel bad because he's an old oppressor, an old white man, and he'll get let out on parole. I mean, good night. Hold on. Like, members of the public saw the victim on the ground, asked if they could help. He replied, "No, she's unalived. I killed her." So not only did he admit to the police, but he admitted to witnesses, right? Members of the public that saw this woman on the ground. And this is the story about how the teenage son was unalived in 2003 at the age of 15. The couple divorced the following years. Blah, 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 blah. In a victim statement, the victim's brother, so his ex-wife's brother, said that she was the hub of the family. Affable, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so on and so forth. I mean, good night. On the 11th of May, about 2 months before the murder, the defendant pled guilty in a separate case to indecently assaulting a girl. So, hold on. The assaulting of the girl, that happened even way before this. Happened before the unaliving happened. And he pled guilty. And he should have got what? At least the 4 months, right? He should have got the 4 months. So he should have actually been, arrested by this time. If they're going to give him 4 months for indecently assaulting a girl under the age of 14. He pled guilty. So he should have been, locked up? He should have been locked up. But he's a white man. So he isn't locked up. He's allowed to roam the streets even though, he indecently assaulted this girl, which they later on give him 4 months for. Like later on, after he commits a violent attack on his ex-wife. This could have been avoided. This could have been prevented, as they say. But this is Great Britain. This is Great Britain, and oppressors get away not only with sexual assault, they get away with murder. It just so happened that this man admitted to it. I feel as though if he didn't admit to it, not even that, because he admitted to it, then pled non-guilty, and then there was a subsequent trial. But like if he didn't admit to it, would he even have got charged? If he had took the knife and the scissors and ran, about as fast as a 68-year-old man can run. if he hobbled away and left the scene, would he even have got arrested? But that's that story. I just saw that and I just thought, this is absolutely ridiculous. Like that is crazy. I read somewhere else that he was a member of the Green Party. Like he was a member of the like a political party and a council member candidate. So maybe that's why they went extra light on him. Because what are we talking about? He assaulted a young girl, and then after he pled guilty for that, 2 months later, did this. Good night. All right, so now we're on to the next story. Which is one of my reasons for this title. All right, let's get it. So why are oppressors so insecure? And let's get this little video. So apparently, this man is in a pub, right? This oppressor is in a pub, and he complains about Indian music being played in a British pub. All right, so let's play the video.
Have fun on TikTok.
First of all, this pub is empty as hell. That's the first thing I noticed. But he's in here drinking his Stella, because that's what oppressors are known for: getting drunk and just being just insufferable. Being drunk and insufferable and violent is like an oppressor's MO. But he's in this pub, right? He goes into this pub, which, if you zoom in right here, this pub is called the Dia Royal. The Dia Royal, and it's owned by Nepalese people. Where is Nepal? Right, Nepalese. Let me look up the word Nepal. Where is that? Is that in India? Nepal. It's a country in South Asia. Okay, so it's a different country, but it's in Asia. So we're talking about East Indian people. Like, if you look over here, it's the map. Where's India from here? India's right here. Right? So they neighbor India. So you have India right here, you have Nepal right here. So he walks into this bar that is owned by Nepalese people called the Dia Royal. I mean, as if it wasn't, I mean, what are we talking about right now? He's in a pub called the Dia Royal, getting drunk, and then they decide to play. This is a pub as well that takes like song requests. So somebody requested, or the owners just decided to play this song. It's an Indian song. They're from Nepal. They're from right next to India. I mean, you even hear the people like responding back to him. They don't sound British to me. That sounds about as Indian as it gets. Or I guess as Nepalese as it gets. He is in an Indian pub. They play Indian music. But this man, just being completely ignorant to where he even is, says, you're playing Indian music in a British pub. What are you playing that stuff for? He doesn't say stuff. He says something a little bit more vulgar. Like, well, what are you playing that nonsense for? This is a British pub. And they're looking at him like, no, sir. This is a Nepalese pub. It's a Nepalese, basically an Indian establishment. I don't know if that's racist. Is that racist to say? They're the same, same type of people, right? They're all Elamites according to the Bible, right? And he kicks off. So after kicking off in the pub and saying, this is ridiculous. You're playing Indian music in my good British pub, and just kicking up a fuss. He later on leaves the pub, and he's just muttering to himself and complaining to himself, and he finds himself in a kebab shop. He finds himself in a kebab shop. After you drink, you get hungry. You want something to eat. He stumbles over to a kebab shop to get something to eat while still complaining about the Indian music. So let's play this video.
I'm in an English pub and I'm racist. Go on, film me. Put me on social media. I'm in an English pub and you're playing Indian music. Go on, film me. Mate, you'll do me a favour because the revolution's coming, son. The revolution is coming.
So the revolution is coming. The revolution is coming because this man is just so overtaken by insecurity. That's the only thing I could call it. By insecurity, that he hears Indian music in what he feels to be a British pub, which is not. He's just completely ignorant, and is crying about it. He's crying about it, muttering to himself, saying it's ridiculous. He's crying and complaining and moaning, and then he gets hungry and decides to leave and go to a kebab shop. Which kebab shops, 9 times out of 10 are run by who? Who can tell me? You can tell me in the comments, like a kebab shop. 9 times out of 10, who is it run by? Let me see. Like who's in a kebab shop complaining? And they're saying, you can call me racist or whatever. It doesn't matter. Film me. Put me on social media because the revolution is coming. The revolution is coming because this man was in an Indian pub, a Nepalese pub, and they played Indian music. The revolution is coming. The revolution, the revolt of hundreds and thousands of just insecure, inferior oppressors, just crybabies. Imagine you run Britain. You run damn near the whole earth. You went and conquered and colonized the entire earth. Just the whole earth. Damn near. And somebody playing you know, somebody playing Indian music in their establishment makes you cry like a baby. Just makes you cry and moan like a toddler. So much so that you leave and go to a kebab shop. You know, that reminds me of like them people in the Tommy Robinson protest that, you know, when they got hungry, you know, there were stands where they were selling onion bhajis. Like they're protesting against what? Anti-immigration. And protesting, I guess, against immigration, I should say. But then they get hungry, they get a little peckish. They go to a Indian stall and buy some onion bhajis. I don't know if y'all saw that video. This man complaining about Indian music being in an Indian pub and goes to a kebab shop, which 9 times out of 10 is run by East Indians. Like, it's run by them type of people. I mean, you know, the inferiority complex of oppressors is like, it'll astound you. It is fascinating. It fascinates me. Like, you go to a place and complain about the music so much that you kick up a fuss, leave, and it's just on your mind so much. It's just on you. You just can't get over the fact that they would play Indian music. You could just leave if you don't want to hear the music. You could just leave and go to another establishment. You may maybe actually find a British pub where they'll play all those British classics. They'll play Sweet Caroline for you. They'll play Sweet Caroline and you can have a good old jolly laugh, and they'll play all those old British songs that they just, you know, it just brings all them folks together. Sweet Caroline and Macarena and whatever the hell them folks listen to. Go find you one of those pubs. But I mean, good night. The revolution is coming because they played Indian music in a Nepalese bar.
I'm in an English pub and you're playing Indian music. Go on, film me. Mate, you'll do me a favour because the revolution's coming, son. The revolution is coming.
The revolution's coming, son. And it is. The revolution is coming. You got a bunch of, you know, oppressors, angry and ignorant, just like this man here. Just so ignorant and angry. Just all they just throwing a tantrum. They're getting ready to throw a absolute tantrum, and the revolution is coming. There is going to be war in the streets, and nation is rising against nation. You know, sweat. Y'all go ahead and fight each other. Y'all go figure that out. But when that time comes, when there is war in the street, there's war and rumors of war going on all over the world, that is the time that Christ is prophesied to make his second return. So that's all I'm waiting for. I want you to kick up more of a fuss. Maybe go to a Chinese restaurant and complain that they got Chinese food. Do that next time. Complain that they got Chinese food in a Chinese restaurant. Complain that they've got they got fufu in a Nigerian restaurant. Or complain that they got Chinese music in a karaoke bar. Or Japanese, whichever one the karaoke thing is. I think it's Japanese. Complain they got Japanese music in a karaoke bar. Do all of those things. It just means, you know, we getting closer to my kingdom. And closer to the kingdom of blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. So that is my first video on, I mean, just a crybaby. It just made me laugh. It just actually made me laugh. So, on to the next story. This will be the last one for tonight, or today. Alright, we got Ian Wright talking about Jude Bellingham. And this is a point that, you know, we have been saying for years. This is a point that we all know is the case when it comes to, like, black athletes. Like, a black athlete can never be... It just can never be not criticized. Let's play this video.
And I'm worried for Jude simply because he's somebody that they can't control. You can't control him. Obviously, coming off of the who else and what he done in the World Cup, he's showing people that, you know, I'm here, I'm black, I'm proud, I'm ready to go. All that vibe is something that certain men can't deal with.
I agree with you. Personal experience.
So he's saying that, you know, Jude Bellingham, you know, he's a very talented football player. A very talented black football player. But him, just being himself, him being, having that little Israelite swagger. We a little braggadocious. We have what's known as charisma. We have, pride, and we have an ego about us. We the same way all oppressors do. They just claim they don't. They just claim that they don't, but they do. But we're just a little more flavorful with it. We're just absolutely more flavorful. But a young black man being proud of being black, being talented, being one of the most talented so-called English football players, they cannot stand it. And they cannot do what, as Ian Wright said, they cannot control him.
Obviously, coming off of the who else and what he done in the World Cup, he's showing people that, I'm here, I'm black, I'm proud, I'm ready to go. All that vibe is something that certain man can't deal with.
I agree with you.
And when he says, certain man can't deal with, I think we all know who he's talking about. I think we're talking about the same man that was crying about Indian music in a Nepalese pub. That's who we're talking about. That's the same man. The same man that, he'll buy his football season tickets and he goes and sees Jude Bellingham playing for whatever team he plays for. Arsenal. I'm not a football fan, so I don't have a clue. Playing whatever English team he plays for and just being superior than all those other oppressor football players. And they cannot stand it. We've got a black player on an English team. The revolution is coming. Hey, good night.
About this in 2016, that Raheem Sterling came to see me in the tournament and said that he felt as though he was being persecuted, that it was unfair and it was basically not relating to football. Mm-hmm. And I remember at the time me giving him a completely and utterly inadequate answer, and I've spoken about this publicly since, where I said, look,
and this man here tells a story about an experience he had with Raheem Sterling, another black football player. And he came to him and said, it's not fair what's happening to him. And what he means by, when it comes to a black football player, anything that black football player does is criticized. If he gets a girlfriend, he's criticized for it. If he breaks up with that girlfriend, he's criticized for it. If he gets a car, he's criticized for it. If he gets a watch, he's criticized for it. But all those other oppressor players that do the same thing, they don't get criticized for those things. And he's a football player. Who gives a damn if he bought a new car? What does that have to do with his talent on the field or his outcomes on the field? What does that have to do with anything? When it comes to those oppressor football players, like, they'll make fun of them and things they do on the pitch, but they don't go into their personal lives, not like that. But a black football player cannot escape the eyes of racist media that will just drag them at every turn for something completely unrelated to football. And this man is, thinking that he knows what Raheem Sterling's talking about. And yeah, the same thing happened to
Raheem,
this.
It's because of your quality and who you are and what you are that they're criticising you.
And he says, look, it's because you're a quality player. They always do that to the best players. They always criticize them. You're gonna face criticism. You're one of the best players. You're quality. And they did the same for this. Let me play on.
Remember, they did this with Wayne Rooney. I actually name-checked him. They did this with David Beckham. They did this with Paul Gascoigne. The best players, the biggest names. But actually what I didn't read at the time, and to be fair, what he was actually crying out and asking me for help for, was around the fact that this wasn't relating to his football performances, which it was with maybe yourself or with Gaza or with Bex. It was more around the colour of his skin. And
and it was absolutely that. Like, we're not talking about, like, I get being, criticized for football, the most popular player have the most eyes on them. Of course, they're going to face the most criticism. But what we're talking about is not criticism about football. He's absolutely being slandered and slated because he is black. It's because of the color of his skin. And this man didn't even take the time to look and see what it is they're saying about him and realize that it's absolutely because of his race. It's because they can't stand to see a black quality player. They can't stand to see a black man be superior on that football field.
with Gaza or with Bex. It was more around the colour of his skin.
Everything
And
else.
this persecution around how if he had a car that was this and another player had a car that was this that was white, there was a difference in reporting of it. Do you think that is happening again in front of our eyes here?
You know something, I remember saying I had to do something for GQ not long ago, and I said I don't think as Englishmen, there's certain Englishmen, I'm an Englishman, I can't hide from that. Even though when I was younger people say, yeah, but you're not really English, right? Yeah, I'm English. I don't think they read.
Yeah, but he's not really English, is he? You know, he's Jamaican. Like, you're not really English, no matter how much you bow down and try to claim you're British and love Britain and wear the Union Jack flag. You can wear a whole suit just made of the Union Jack flag. But you're not really British, are you? That reminds me of that show I did not too long ago. That black woman who was at the Tommy Robinson March and saying that, you know, trying to join with the oppressors, saying my parents are British and this, that, and the third, and I love Britain and da 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 da. And you had that oppressor behind her just looking at this woman like she is crazy. Like, like you know what this is about, right? Just looking at her like, you know we hate you too, right? Because you're not really English. You're not really British. Like that's no, I know we say, you know, we love Britain and British people are being persecuted, yet we're not talking about you. We know, you know, British people, you know, not British people, British people. You feel what I'm saying? You know, that's what they're talking about. They're talking about you. You could go and be in that protest and, you know, think, yeah, we're protest because we need to get Britain back. We need to make Britain great again. Making Britain great again, according to them, means getting rid of you or putting you back in slavery. That's what making Britain great again means to them. You're very much in the wrong place with the wrong people. Let's play on.
Ready for a black superstar like that.
Run back a little bit.
Yeah, I'm English. So yeah, but you're not really English, right? Yeah, I'm English. I don't think they're ready for a black superstar like that who can move like Jude's moving. You know, they can't touch him. Like I just said, he goes out there, he performs, he does what he does. He says, "Who else?" It's too uppity for these people. Something that they used to say back in the day. If you're a black guy or a black man who's, you know what? I put it in a football term. So everybody, they love N'Golo Kante. He's a humble black man, gets on with what he's doing. I'm not saying that he's an Uncle Tom or anything. Just saying that's how his personality is. But if you get a Pogba or a Bellingham and you get that kind of energy, that does not sit well with the people. That kind of person. So
yeah, it does not sit well with oppressors to have a black man that isn't just low and down like a slave. It doesn't sit well with them to have a black man who's, you know, knows that he's superior. Like if you have a black man and he's great, he's talented, he's athletic, but he fights for Britain and he's you know, he's low and down. Whenever it comes with white people, he's so respectful and he just puts himself down because he feels as though the oppressors are greater. They can stomach that. Like they can stomach a black man who, quote unquote, knows his place. But as soon as they don't, as soon as they step out of that place that they're comfortable with, they cannot stand it. They cannot stand it, especially if it's somebody they cannot beat. You cannot beat a brother like Bellingham. You can't beat him. He's superior. And he knows it. And insecure oppressors cannot stand it. Let's play on.
But if you get a Pogba or a Bellingham and you get that kind of energy, that does not sit well with the people, that kind of person. So someone like Jude, for some reason, frightens these people because of his capability and the inspiration he can give. It's something that you're taught when you're, as a black man, when you're going out there, you just want to try and do the best you can and keep your head down.
Exactly. That's what you're taught. You're taught to just do the best you can, but keep your head down. It's for the same reason, like say in America, if you was a black man or woman and you wanted to laugh they had what was known as laughing barrels. And you had to stick your head in a barrel to express joy, to laugh about something. You could not laugh around an oppressor. You couldn't express joy around an oppressor. Why? Because oppressors are miserable. They're absolutely, even though they rule the earth, they're the most miserable people you will ever meet. So a black person experiencing joy, imagine all the oppression and the trauma that black people have been through, but we can still express joy. We can still laugh. We can still have fun even in our oppression. It hurts them to their core. It hurts them to their core because they are a miserable people. No matter how much wealth they have, no matter how much, they could have all the drugs in the world, all the cars in the world, they will still unalive themselves because they are absolutely miserable. They are miserable people. So because they feel, again, insecure that you can laugh and they can't, you have to stick your head in a barrel. Because they feel insecure that you are talented and more talented than them, and you work harder than them, and you get better outcomes, you still have to put your head down because they are insecure. You have to keep your head down and be what they call humble. You have to be humble and put yourself down and put yourself under them. Otherwise, they will not be comfortable.
And frightens these people because of his capability and the inspiration he can give. It's something that you're taught when you're, as a black man, when you're going out there, you just want to try and do the best you can and keep your head down and be, for want of a better, humble slave.
and he literally says it. Ian says it. And B, for want of a better word, you have to be, as a black man, you have to be a humble ass slave. That's what you have to be. That's what them saying, you know, be humble. That's what it means. It's being a good slave.
Slave. This is where this is dragging up from that kind of energy. Because if you are outspoken black and doing that kind of, playing to that kind of level and not caring, that frightens certain people. And that's what.
And we know the certain people he's talking about once again. This comes, it's an exact parallel to slavery. Like, you have to be a good slave or it's going to frighten Massa. And he's going to, you know, when Massa gets frightened, he used to be able to hit you with the belt. Nowadays, Massa gets frightened and he hits you with the baton. He hits you with the pepper spray. He hits you with 3 bullets to your chest because he feels insecure.
That's what's going to happen with you. This guy who I'm telling you about in respects of he's obsessed with him. He's moving off of that energy. He can't look and see a black man doing what Jude's doing and think that that's not uppity. It's not uppity. That's where I'm going. That's where that comes down to.
And a black man having talent and knowing he's talented, knowing he's more talented than them, they call him an uppity N-word. Oh, you just an uppity N-word. They cannot stand it. They cannot stand it. Because blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, the Most High made you the greatest nation on the face of the earth. He made you to be superior above all nations that are upon the face of the earth. Just read the Bible every once in a while. It lets you know. And oppressors cannot stand it. They can't stomach it. It makes them sick. And with that is my show. I hope y'all enjoyed. You know what I'm saying? Slacky again for being a little late on the time, but we got it in. You know what I'm saying? And we'll be here once again next week, Sunday, 2 p.m. Make sure y'all catch the live. Again, like it, share it, follow the page. You know what I'm saying? Every Sunday, 2 p.m. You know what I'm saying? I'll catch you next week. All right, with that, shalom to all the brothers. You know what I'm saying? Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai Barakatam. And shalom to all the sisters. Yahweh Shema Alathan Bahashem Yahweh Shai. All right, shalom.
The way I walk like a cult leader, how I talk like a cult leader, how I move like a cult leader, everything off the meter, one West undefeated, how I walk like a cult leader, how I talk like a cult leader, how I move like a cult leader, everything off the meter, one West undefeated, come on. the small van.